What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. If you guys are new, welcome. I hope the day is treating everybody fantastic and the week is off to a bang for y'all. Thank you guys so much for the support. Still going crazy in this month. Numbers are off the charts, so it just means a lot to me, and thank you guys so much for that. But we're gonna get right into the video real quick here because we got a lot to go over. Want to go over the build first and then show you how it really works in the PvE scene. Now this build right here is from my boy Eclipse. He asked me for a nice Arc Hunter PvE build, and I think this one right here is absolutely amazing to use. Now I know we did just use a Monte Carlo in an Arc Warlock build as well, but it is super perfect for this build too, so we're gonna get right into it. To start off, we're going to go with top Tree Arcstrider right here because of this perk. Kill an enemy with the melee ability to trigger health regeneration, and it increases your melee damage temporarily, stacking up to 3 times. Combining that with Gambler's Dodge, so when we dodge next to an enemy, we get our melee back immediately, allowing us to use melees more often. Now, this pairs absolutely perfectly with Liar's Handshake for a few different reasons. So, the exotic perk, Cross Counter, using your Arc melee ability or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee punch that heals you. So the Liar's Handshake gives you extra melee damage, and it heals you as well after you use your melee or being hit. So it's basically just doubled up on melee damage and heals between the exotic arms and top tree right there. So to pair perfectly with that, we're going to be going over the mods right here. So first off, we have elemental armaments and our ammo finders. So elemental armaments, combatant weapon final blows with a damage type matching your subclass element have escalating chance to spawn those elemental wells. So with that, we're using the sudden death Arc shotgun and then the Hero of Ages Arc sword, so that will allow us to proc elemental wells more often using both of those. Now on our Liar's Handshake right here, we have our auto rifle and shotgun reloaders as well as Well of Ions. So picking up those Arc elemental wells causes us to increase melee damage for a short period of time. So another way of increasing melee damage along with our super top tree as well as our exotic perk already. On our chest piece right here, we have melee damage resistance twice because we're going to be up close and personal with a lot of enemies, and then we're going to have melee well maker, so powered melee combatant final blows spawn elemental wells matching your subclass type. So with Gambler's Dodge and this melee well maker, we're going to be having Arc melee abilities almost consistently, and then getting those final blows with the melee will create more wells for us so we can pick it up, giving us more damage because of right here Well of Ions. So we have Well Maker on this as well as melee Well Maker on our legs because we can stack those with using right here Bountiful Wells. Elemental well mods that cause you to spawn elemental wells can now stack, so that's why we have 2 Well Makers right here by using our melee. Also on our boots right here, we have shotgun holster, just so when we're using our sudden death, if we run out of ammo, we can put it away, use our Monte Carlo for a second, and it'll automatically reload itself. Now the weapons are also a big part of this build right here. So Monte Carlo, Markov chain on it increases weapon damage from melee kills and kills with the weapon. So we will be doing extra damage with Monte Carlo because of all the melee kills that we will be getting. And it also grants us melee energy on weapon kills, and also has the chance of just fully recharging our melee when we get weapon kills with the Monte Carlo, giving us the ability to throw melees around like it's no one's business. Right here, maybe the most important weapon for the build is this Arc shotgun with 1-2 punch on it. So hitting an enemy with every pellet in a shot increases melee damage for a short duration. So using this and hitting an enemy like a yellow bar with every single shot procs 1-2 punch, and then with all the other melee damage combining with our super and exotic Liar's Handshake, it just does absolutely crazy damage in a single punch. On top of that, we're using the Hero of Ages with chain reaction on it, so we can get those elemental explosions on sword kills, so we can have more of those Arc elemental wells around, and that pairs perfectly with passive guard, so we can stay alive in those situations, always being up close and personal with this build. So onto the gameplay right here to show you guys how this build actually works, and it is crazy how much you can just melee enemies and just always have that charged melee ability. all the arc wells that you can see in the world right here. So you just run around and basically dodge next to enemies with that gambler's dodge to get your ability back. You can use melee to actually hit them and kill them, and then you get your dodge ability back with the exotic that we have on. And then you can see in the left hand corner you get combination blow to start stacking up to 3. You get Markov chain stacking up to ×5 for Monte Carlo, and then after you pick up an elemental well, the arc elemental well, you can see you have bonus melee damage as well on the bottom left, and that's when the absolute crazy damage output on enemies happens. So when that happens, all you got to do is walk up to an enemy with your shotgun, more powerful enemy, make sure you hit every single pellet in that shot that you're using, 1-2 punch will proc, and then you use your charged melee attack on that enemy, and let me tell you, it just annihilates them. On some of these nightmares right here, I was doing upwards of 100,000 just for one single punch with a hunter, which is absolutely nuts. You can pair it with certain things. If you are using like a tractor cannon, you can substitute that for like Monte Carlo, because you really don't need Monte Carlo to proc those melee energy like regens like the other builds. Because of the dodge, you're always getting it back, plus your melee comes back super fast with this build. So if you're throwing on tractor cannon, you get that extra debuff on enemies, and you can be doing even more damage, which is just absolutely crazy, because you can 1, 2, 3 punch some of these enemies that it usually takes even a lot of heavy ammo and supers to kill. So the melee output damage on this build is absolutely crazy, and you get the health regen on kills. So once I go into this lost sector here, I do the entire thing with barely using any other weapon besides maybe my sword here or there along with the Monte Carlo to get my melee procced again, and then just use your shotgun to get 1-2 punch activated and absolutely destroy those powerful enemies like your knights and then the wizards inside of this lost sector. I can hit one shotgun, 1 punch, and the wizard is gone, just absolutely deleted within the lost sector. Now when it came to the boss, basically the same thing, defeated a bunch of the enemies around it first to get that melee damage procced and combination blow and those arc elemental wells. Then I walked up to it, did a shotgun shot, meleeed, shotgun shot, 2 melees in a row, and like that, it was just dead in about 4 melees and 2 shotgun shots. So that's kind of unheard of, especially for a hunter. You can see that on like warlocks and titans with some of their abilities that they have. And this one right here is really without using any other weapon besides your shotgun to get that 1-2 punch procced. And then after that, your melee damage is just through the roof and absolutely murders bosses and powerful enemies. And then the little guys don't even stand a chance, because that's where you get that combination blow procced. You literally just dodge around the entire time, melee them, you get your health back. Even when there's a lot of enemies, getting those punches, like I said, gives you health back based on the exotic perk and your super ability combination blow. So it's a double whammy, and you're just basically unkillable in this build, especially if you do happen to pull out your passive guard and your sword and standing next to enemies. It's just almost immunity. So this build right here is so much fun. Kind of turned into a titan for a little bit as a hunter. Melee damage is through the roof, and I absolutely just adore. I love using this build, especially since there isn't too many PvE arc hunter builds out there. This one right here is crazy to use and super fun. So hopefully you guys like the build and check it out. I appreciate y'all coming back and always checking out the channel. Means a lot to me, and we got a lot coming up, like I said, with Witch Queen February 22nd, about to be like a new game. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.